Coming up on Your Money and Your Life, the first step to getting your family budget back on track. Is now the time to buy an investment property? Uranium shares have been running hot, but will it last, and stocks to buy? Plus, in Kochie's budget challenge, the Queen of Frugal dares me to do better. G'day and welcome to Your Money and Your Life, the show that's all about saving, spending, investing and enjoying your money. My mission is to make sure you make the very most of your money, that you're getting the very best deals on everything from home loans and insurance to credit cards and petrol. Look, rising interest rates, rampant inflation and a slowing economy are stinging average Aussies. Frankly, it has never been harder to make ends meet. As a result, many household budgets are in complete disarray. So what are the steps in getting that budget under control? Financial coach Betsy Westcott has some tips on the first steps to take right now to get your finances back on track. Betsy, for many Aussies, their finances are so bad, they're sticking their head in the sand and thinking it'll all go away. It won't. What's the first step to getting it right?
First of all, realise that you have all the smarts within you to get your money under control. You don't need to be the Wolf of Wall Street, a computer scientist or anything special. It's very basic and you have the power to make it happen. Next thing you've got to do is get real with your money. Be really honest. What's the money coming in? What's the money going out? And you know, you could get the pen and paper and be writing that out. Or if you're like me and you love technology, there's an app that can help you. A budgeting app can do a lot of the heavy lifting for you and be really, really powerful. Second thing is to work out, what do you actually want out of your money? What are you earning this money for? Where is it important for you to be spending it? And what are your goals? Is it getting out of debt? Is it, upgrading the car, buying that dream home? But having a goal that is, specific around what it is, how much and by when, that is such a powerful tool for your financial well-being because it gives you some direction, doesn't it?
There's nothing more boring than doing a budget just to save for nothing.
And then the third thing is really viewing this as a practice. It's not a once and done thing. It's like going to the gym. It's like eating healthy. It's something you've got to do regularly. So how do you build in good financial behaviours in your everyday routine? Is it, you negotiate a bill when the renewal comes in once a month? Do you look for ways to review your savings account? Are you getting the best deal? We know how important that is. And then have you got a regular routine around your money? You're checking in with your partner, reanalyzing your goals regularly to just make sure that this is a muscle that you're building and you're keeping strong along the way.
Betsy, some great tips. Thanks very much for joining us. If you want more guidance in this area, Betsy and I produced an online course on fighting financial stress. Go to kappa.tv to find out more. Now to Kochie's budget challenge. Every week, with the help of the team at Compare the Market, we're going to help average Aussies find better deals on their biggest bills and save them thousands of dollars and change their lives. Deborah is a recently single mother of two dealing with the financial pressure of running a family budget on her own. Health issues have only added to that strain. Deborah invited me into her home to see if we can find some savings. Deb, everyone's had a pretty tough 12 months financially with inflation and interest rates. You've had it tough for a whole lot of different reasons, haven't you, over the last year? Tell us about it.
It's been a big year, actually, yes. I started the year off with a separation from my partner. Then mid-year, I went into hospital. I had a few months in surgery. And then I ended the year off with a holiday with my sons.
Right.
And so always onwards and upwards.
So it's been a roller coaster.
Yes.
How tough has it been to balance the books?
It's getting tougher and tougher. I know the cost of living, but it really is a big difference.
Now, you're the Queen of Frugal.
A crown I love.
And Luke is your trusty assistant on that as well.
He has a little entrepreneurial spirit to him, yes.
Give us a few tips on what you do.
We do cans and bottles, and Luke saved up and purchased his own switch. And we have chickens,
Right.
and Luke sells the eggs from the chickens, and I make a lot of egg food.
So what about some of your goals that you set yourself?
We like to travel. As a family, we always have that goal to look forward to towards the end of the year, family holiday.
With your bills, are you in a habit of comparing them with other options?
I try to, yeah. When they come due, I take a quick look around before I pay them to see if I can find a better deal.
Right.
But hey, every little counts, and if you can find an even better deal, woohoo.
Deb, your tone sounds a bit challenging, so we are taking on the Queen of Frugal and a professional comparer.
You go for it.
All right, whoa. Let's see if we can add to that travel fun. After the break, shares in uranium miners have been hot, but can it last? And which stocks are worth looking at? Welcome back to Your Money and Your Life. Let's try and make you some money on the share market. And shares in uranium producers and explorers are really hot right now as investors believe countries will have to switch to nuclear power to meet their climate change targets. Joining me now is Henry Jennings from Marcus Today. We're a big uranium producer, aren't we? Give us 3 uranium stocks that really appeal to you at the moment. What should investors be looking at if they want to get in to this uranium investment story?
Well, I guess there's a number of ways to play it. We are a big producer of uranium, but it doesn't really get pushed a lot by our local big one, which is BHP, which produces a lot of uranium out of Olympic Dam. It's the 4th biggest uranium producer in the world, but it's a very small part of BHP. Looking at some of our local companies, of course, there's Paladin, which is listed on the ASX, but that is in Namibia, in Africa. Of course, so that's a restart of a mine that was shuttered due to low prices. And then we've got other ones. There's another one in the US called Peninsula Energy, which is, again, it's US focused, Utah. And then you've got things like Boss Energy, which is up in the Northern Territory with the Honeymoon Project. So there are a number of Australian stocks listed here that are doing quite good things in terms of production. And there's also, if you want to go left field, there's a stock called Silex, which has been for the last 30 years trying to provide the 3rd generation of enrichment technology to actually make the uranium into usable fuel for nuclear power stations.
Okay, so they're the 4
They're
that you
4.
look at to get into now if you want to follow the uranium stock.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of them, but certainly, you know, Paladin is probably our poster child because they're closest to production in Namibia, Peninsula with the Lance in the US, Silex for that enrichment, and Boss, of course, for the Honeymoon Project, which again is coming into production very soon.
Terrific. Henry, thanks for the update. Really appreciate it. And if you're interested in share investing, I host a daily show, The Call, on the Ausbiz streaming network, where I put 10 stocks suggested by viewers to an expert panel for their views on whether to buy, hold or sell. It's a lot of fun, and Henry is one of our regular experts. Wondering what's driving inflation? Well, the culprit could be in your garage. The cost of running a car has been soaring. Insurance and financial services costs alone rose up to 8.6% in 2023. So it's time to take back the wheel to accelerate your savings. What you could save will depend on your unique circumstances, but compare the market, crunch the numbers for a hypothetical 30-year-old male driver of a 2019 Toyota Camry in Toowong. Let's call him Tom. Tom reduced his cheapest quote by almost $100 a year by updating his usage from 15,000 Ks to 5,000 Ks per year. If you use public transport and don't drive often, make sure your policy accurately reflects your usage and see if there is a cheaper, low-kilometre policy option. Another way to save is by changing your excess. Tom was able to reduce his cheapest quote by $253 when he adjusted his excess from $900 to $1,800. But remember, you'll pay more if you need to claim. And with new tech analysing your habits on the road, safe drivers could be rewarded with lower premiums. Finally, shop around. There's often a difference of hundreds of dollars between policies from different insurers. For more, head to comparethemarket.com.au. After the break, the housing crisis has been pushing up house prices and rents. So is this a good time to be an investor in property? Welcome back to Your Money and Your Life. Why are we paying so much more on our energy bills when much of the rest of the world is seeing falls in their energy costs? Look at this list from the OECD, which shows Australia's energy costs up 9% compared with declines in the US, UK, Europe and Japan. Australia is a big energy exporter and the price of oil, gas and coal has been falling. Why isn't it flowing through to us? This will surprise you. Your energy bill is not just the cost of the commodities. It's also the cost of generating the power, maintaining the poles and wires, and building infrastructure for renewables. And because of years of neglect, that's what we're being slugged for now. As you can see, the wholesale energy part is just a third of your bill. The other 2/3 of your bill is the cost of generating it because the power plants are so old. Now, the housing shortage has seen residential property values and rents soar over the last 3 years. Last year, median values and rents both rose over 8% each. Now, since 2020, the median rent has risen from $437 a week to over $600 a week. That's an annual rent of over $31,000 a year. With returns like that, is it a good time to buy an investment property and be a landlord? Tim Lawless from property research group CoreLogic joins me now from the Sunshine Coast. Tim, is this the right time to think about an investment property?
Well, I think it depends on your perspective, of course. But I think exactly what you're saying there, Kochie, when you look at how much rents are rising and also the fundamentals of the rental market with vacancy rates generally around 1%, or in some markets less than 1%, rents are likely to continue rising quite strongly through 2024. Maybe not as swiftly as we've seen over the past couple of years, which has been quite extraordinary, but we are still expecting to see rents rising much higher than average levels over the next year, maybe even over the next couple of years, given the fact that getting more supply into the marketplace is still quite a challenge.
So what makes a good investment property? Are houses better than units, and what regions perform the best?
Well, when you look at investment returns, a lot of investors are focusing on capital gain. And from that perspective, you generally find houses provide a much better level of long-term or even medium-term capital gain. In fact, over the past 10 years, house values have risen at more than double the rate of unit values. But for a lot of investors, they're also being driven by yield, with a prospect for cash flow. And in that sense, some of the best rental returns you'll find are going to be in the unit sector. You generally find yields tend to be quite a bit higher for apartments rather than houses, mostly because your buy-in price is quite a bit lower. So for investors looking for cash flow coming out of rental income coming through, probably the best options are going to be looking for those markets that offer up a good yield. Perth, Darwin, to a lesser extent, Brisbane seem to be the best capital city options, but also a lot of regional markets show a much stronger yield profile than the capital cities.
And is the closeness to transport and facilities important in terms of an investment property? Does that make a difference to your return?
It makes a big difference. If you think about the mindset of a renter, they're generally going to be looking for high amenity areas. So areas that are close to major working nodes, but also proximity to transport options, both public transport options like trains, busways, and arterial road networks for private transport usage as well. These tend to be some of the most important drivers of investment returns in marketplaces.
Tim, that is such great advice. Thank you so much for sharing it with us today. Appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure, Kochie. Thanks for inviting me in.
Tim Lawless there from CoreLogic. After the break, we check back in with Deborah and look at savings she can make to set herself up for financial freedom. Let's return to the Queen of Frugal, Deborah. We've gone through her bills with the experts that compare the market to see if we can find better deals. Here's what we found. Okay, Deborah, you are the Queen of Frugal and a professional comparer. You've set us a challenge. It is the moment of truth.
Bring it on.
You've done a great job. All up, going through all your big bills, you can see you've really focused on it. But having said that, we think we can tweak it a bit more. Now, I've got to say, these are just all thought starters. Let's start with the home loan. You don't have much more to pay off it.
Yay.
I know, it's great, about $4,000. Deb, I looked at the interest rate, over 9%. You should be paying about 6%. You should be ringing your bank and saying, why am I paying 9%? I can get 6% or a bit below from virtually anywhere else. Do me a deal. And once you ring your bank, Deb, you've got so many options. You can either go back and live in it, or you can sell it if you want to move into a bigger home with the 2 boys. Lots of decisions for you to make, but they're good decisions.
Thank you.
In terms of health insurance, you flagged you wanted to look at a policy, single parent policy, extras, and with them without orthodontics. Now,
Yes.
remember, if you drop orthodontics and then in the future you want it, you're going to have to go through the waiting list again. So keep that in the back of your mind. So if the kids' teeth start to look a little crooked, think, oh, we can put up with that for a year or whatever the waiting period is, and then maybe do it. But without the orthodontics, you could, by dropping it, save almost $300 a year. So that's a significant saving. If you do want orthodontics, then there are some pretty good options. So go to it. You're a professional comparer, so you've actually got a pretty good deal with orthodontics. Currently spend $766 a year on car insurance. A lot of options better than that out there. And because you don't drive far each year, you could be eligible for a low kilometre sort of discount on top of that as well. So you could reduce your premiums by about $72 by switching and moving to a drive less, pay less policy. So that's just a little thing you can tighten up. As an added bonus, you still get your 10% discount off your once a month grocery bill, which you do at the moment, don't you?
I do indeed, and I make the most of that.
How do you use it?
Well, I generally do one big shop a month.
All right, let's go to contents cover now. Your current policy includes accidental damage like spills, breakages, other mishaps. Comparing it with others available in the market could reduce your premium by another $72 if you switch to another supplier as well. So that's a bit extra. Taking accidental cover out could reduce the premium any further. So do you want accidental cover?
I need accidental cover.
Okay,
I've got boys.
fair enough.
I'm a boy mum.
Okay, can understand that, so it is worth it. Finally, your energy bill. You actually save over $100 in bill credits with your current provider. However, you could save even more, $187 a year.
That's almost double.
Yeah, by another policy within the same provider. Every provider has to show you, there's a little panel in your bill, and it's in yours as well, that they offer a different policy that could be better for you at a cheaper rate.
I never knew.
Everyone overlooks it. And if you look at it, it's right there. We've got a better deal. So That's a pretty simple saving you can do right
I'm
now.
embarrassed.
No, don't be embarrassed.
My crown is slipping.
Oh, it's not. It's firmly wedged there, let me tell you. There are other plans around which will give you 18% off the current reference price as well, including $150 in bill credits as well. Just even in your own supply, do it right now.
After the phone call to the bank.
Yep, exactly right. So when you add up the savings on the health insurance, the car, home and contents, and energy, it all adds up to an extra roughly $700, maybe a bit below, but around $700 in savings a year.
Wow.
That's $700 extra to go into the travel account.
I can make that go a long way.
I speak to so many families and so many people about their finances. Well done, Queen Deborah.
Thank you. King Kochie.
Phew. Deborah really is the Queen of Frugal, so I'm just glad we managed to find some extra savings for her. Well, that's it from me for today. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Your Money and Your Life. For all the latest money and investment news that you need to know, go to ymyl.com.au, and while you're there, subscribe to my free email newsletter, which is delivered to your inbox every Friday. See you next time. Next week on Your Money and Your Life, we find out how you can get a pay rise. Is climate change to blame for higher insurance premiums? We pick Australia's best tech stocks and how to save for your child's education as public and private fees continue to rise.